I'm sure there are many people who have many questions for you and would like to know more. What are other key things you might want to tell people and share with them to kind of help them feel more positive about what they're doing?
Well, specifically about coaching, I think one of the misunderstandings that physicians in particular have about coaching is, they equate it with psychotherapy,
Right.
and you know, to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist for your depression, for a doctor, is a problem in two ways. One is that, it's admitting weakness, and if anybody finds out about it, it makes you look bad. The medical profession still has a very archaic attitude toward mental illness, even though depression is a normal part of life. And the other problem is if you are, in the care of a psychiatrist and on medications, even though they may be necessary, under certain circumstances, they're required to report that to the medical board. And so
Yeah.
doctors also have a fear of losing their license, which
Wow.
is an
That's
economic threat. So we're really under, sort of a double threat. And so one of the things I try to emphasize is that coaching is not psychotherapist. It's not psychotherapy. I mean, I'm not a psychotherapist. I'm a physician and a coach. And the process is quite different. It doesn't require, you know, a diagnosis. It doesn't require any reporting. Our conversations are still held confidentially, um, but it's a much easier process to get involved with. And I like to tell doctors that they should think about, calling in a coach the same way they think about calling in a specialist to take care of a patient. It's just smart. You don't consider it a weakness if your patient has some weird infectious disease and you call in an infectious disease specialist. That's not your personal failing. You're just calling in a specialist to help out. And that's essentially what a coach is. There's no personal failing, there's no illness necessarily implied, although depression may be present. That's not what the coach does. The coach doesn't treat depression. The coach essentially works in a collaborative way with the client to come up with, real life solutions to real life problems. And if depression happens to go away along the way, that's terrific. If they need medical help, they can still get medical help. But coaching is not psychotherapy. So that's the first thing I tell them. The other thing I try to emphasize is that, with coaching, we don't really care so much about going back and finding out their original childhood traumas. What we're really focused on is the present moment, the way things are, and the way they want things to be, and then coming up with a, an action plan to take them from the present to their desired future. So that's one thing I'd like people to know.
Could I
Um,
into that a tiny bit? I mean, you said it beautifully. I think of coaching as a strengths model. You build on their strengths to help them to get to the goal that they aspire to. So it's not a broken model. It's not like they've come in with a broken arm that you have to put in a cast. It's that they've got some underdeveloped muscle that's there, and it's more of a fitness model in that sense, and we teach them how to build those muscles.
that's exactly right, and that's, the coaching process is, as I said, it begins with finding out what their needs and wants are. And then the second part is, as you said, we evaluate whatever strengths and resources they have in their own lives. And then we also, ask questions to try to figure out if they have any internal limiting beliefs or emotions. And we work to help them release those beliefs and emotions. And the kind of goals that we try to develop structured goals, what we call SMART goals, which are, specific and measurable and also attainable. And then we develop an action plan. And then over time, we follow along with the client to see how they're doing in their action plan, and we modify it or change it as we need to. That's kind of the general coaching process. Now, there are some other things that I like to teach, within the medical environment, certain coping skills which really aren't taught in medical school at all. In medical school, you're taught, the mechanics of how to do medicine, how to diagnose and how to treat. You're not taught about stress reduction. You're not taught about mindfulness. You're also not taught very good interpersonal communication skills. And I think that, part of what I try to do in coaching, whether I do it individually or in a group, is to teach, the same communication skills that we learn as coaches, because those same communication skills are very important in having good relationships, not only with your coworkers, but with your patients and even your bosses. And for the same reason, I try to teach some basic conflict resolution skills and how to, build up a team so that you don't feel like you're in it alone, that you're working with a group of people toward a common goal.
So, Gideon, Dr. Strick, how do people get in touch with you if they are interested in learning more or having a consultation? How do they get in touch with you?
Okay, well, I now have a brand new website up and running. It's healthcarecoaching.org. And I also have an 800 number, 888-210-1121, which people can call for a confidential and free telephone consultation, whether it's about themselves or somebody they care about that they think is dealing with stress and burnout.